What's happening, YouTube? This is Escapist Full here with another deck profile today, and this is the Pure True Draco deck profile post September 2017 ban list, and it's my friend Albert's profile. He's been having a lot of success with it, and he's here to talk about his deck choices, card choices. And go ahead, Albert.
All right, so we're gonna start off with 3 Masterpiece. Since the initial lineup was the 3 Dynamite and then like 1 or 2 of these, now we have to reverse it since the ban list. So we run 3 of this. Since most decks don't have many answers to Masterpiece, it's a very devastating card unless they main either kaijus or they have a natural beater that could beat over this, and that's not to mention if you have diagrams.
I don't have a fucking out to that, so fuck that guy.
Okay, then there's Ignis. Ignis is still a very good card even at 1 because he still searches out the 2 main cards that give you a +1 or 1 for 1. The Heritage or the Disciples. The Majesty Maiden, we still keep her only at 1 just because like you don't want to brick with a bunch of monsters. So if you have her and another monster, you don't want to summon her first. You want to summon her like last because you don't want to get stuck with monster cards in your hand. Okay, then we play 2 Drapes.
Okay, this is really interesting. Why are you playing this card?
Drape is actually a very good card if you open up with it with Diagram. So if you open up Trap card, Magic card with him, you could always go Tribute, Summon, and then you use Diagram to pop it, and he'll breed into another one of himself, giving you that 2 for Heritage, so you get a 2 off of Heritage right away. And he also works because his effect to protect the True Dracos isn't a Tribute Summon effect. It's an effect that gains when they're either special normaled or any way it comes out. So if you have 2 of them out, they can't Dark Hole, Kaiju Slumber, or target any of you True Draco monsters.
Oh shit, it's like that old school lock, Marauding Captain kind of, in a way.
Yeah, but not to mention
like swap, I think it's Dewfrog, right? Does the same thing as well?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, if you get 2, you kind of have to, you can't attack any of them.
Yeah, but you can still attack them. It's just that if you
can't
have
target them, right?
You can't target them or blow them up with like board clears. So you can't Black Rose, you can't Dark Hole, Raigeki. You have to literally beat over them, and they already have a 28 ass. Not to mention with Diagram, they're at 31. And then if you have this in combination with True King's Return, you can just bring them out and just make the lock as many times as you want.
That's really good, actually.
Okay, and now we move on to the hand traps. So Maxi is always a given. It's always good, especially against rogue decks, since right now in this meta, not a lot of people know what they want to play. Like, I see pendulum decks now a lot since Fraser Smith just won. I think it was the UDS or what was it?
No, it was Jeff Jones.
It was Jeff Jones that won the UDS, right? Mm-hmm. The pendulum. I mean, this card is good. I'm thinking about cutting it and adding something else in it, but for now I'm keeping it in because it's always been either a 1 for 1 or a 1 for 2.
Are you going to keep it when Spiral formats here?
I probably am, since Spirals do spam the board a lot more. And it won't stop them, but it'll give you everything you need to beat over them.
Yeah, that deck's crazy.
Right. And then triple Ash Blossom. Works against the Pendulum matchup, works against the Mirror match, works against Rogue. In all general, this card is really good. This card I see always being a good hand trap because it stops searching, it stops specials from deck, it stops Maxi. Like, there are not many cards in this game that stop other hand traps.
Yeah, this card can like negate, I think, like 1,000 something cards. There was that one Reddit post that, listed all the cards that Ash Blossom can negate, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Then we have triple Ghost Ogre.
Holy sexy.
So
sexy.
I'm not just playing them because they're ulti, but I play them also because they're actually a really good blowout card. Because against pendulums, if they don't do pendulum call and say they want to do like the one that searches, you could blow it up. That way they don't get like the other effect to double or the effect to add.
Okay.
You could also do this against Pendulum Graph.
Yeah.
So this is a good card against Pendulum Graph if you don't want to set like Cosmic Cyclone or anything like that. And it's a hand trap, which isn't bad. Because you can also put this in combination with card demise. So if you demise into one of these and you use your 2 magic cards to traditional tribute, you can normal summon this card. And it's a threatening card because they're going to try to beat over this before they do any other plays. Because if they try to do like, say, the Pendulum Graph, this will get rid of it even on board because you can use this effect while it's on board as well.
Yeah, people seem to forget that effect.
Yeah, that's why this card is still really good. So now we move on to our magic cards, which is like Monarch Stone. Monarch Stone has always been a good card because it lets you use your opponent's board as tribute food for your monsters.
Don't remind me of Monarch format, please.
Yeah, well, this deck is more busted than what Monarch
is, and it doesn't break.
Yeah. And now this is the tricky one. I had to cut back on 1 card of demise. I only run 2. Because I run 7 in total hand traps. This card can't go in good combination with Ash Blossom or Maxi. It goes in good combination with Ogre because you can normal summon it and still use its effect. But Ash Blossom and Maxi just become 2 dead draws if you get it off of this. So I'd rather just minimize the amount of dead draws I get. So, yeah. And then Terraforming would be at 2.
Why 2, not 3?
I run 2 because most of the time I dig through my deck a lot, and if I go through all 3 diagrams, these cards become dead. They're just dead weight in the deck.
That's true. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, I used to just run 1 before the ban list because you could look through your deck more. And the 1, even if it's 1, you can pop it with a diagram. But this 2, if you brick with 2, that's already like 2 cards in your hand that you can't use. Even if like you have diagram. Alright, so 3 Disciples of the Phoenix. This card's always really good. It lets you Pot of Avarice cards that you need again. This card has become a key card in this deck since the ban list hit, because like you need that return to be going back into the deck. Not to mention like you're more reliant on your magic cards now, since your main guy Dynamite, my homie Dynamite, is gone.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
He was the best card in the deck, clearly.
And now triple Pot of Desires. I picked Pot of Desires to run 3 of over Card of Demise because...
You mean Duality?
Yeah, Duality, sorry.
It's all good.
I picked triple Duality because it has a very low cost effect, especially that I can't tribute. I can't special. That's not really a heavy cost in this deck. If you can't special, oh well. Like you can't use return this turn, but you can use it on your opponent's turn. Yeah, honestly, this also lets me get hand traps in my hand when I need them the most, and it also lets me fix my hand whenever I need it. This card, in my opinion, has always been very good. Then we run triple Heritage. At this point, Heritage is really good in this deck also because it always gets the +1, 2, 3. To get the +3 is now harder since return got hit to 1, but that +2 is still really good, and it gives you field presence for it. It also becomes food for like Apocalypse. It becomes food for Masterpiece, Diagram. Overall, this card is extremely good. I like it. Okay, and then we run triple Diagram. Diagram has recently gone down in price because, well, 2 Dracos got hit pretty hard. But Diagram's also the best card for this deck as a search engine. I think this deck has become more reliant on Diagram now with the ban list in effect because it lost consistency, and this will keep the deck consistent. So
those 2 Terraformings, they don't really affect you too much, you think?
No, because I see this card, or plus I have a lot of cards that draw in the deck. So I don't really like... I think Terraforming is good as an opening card because it thins out the deck by 1.
Okay.
So it's like you're running like -1 for each Terraforming. Unless you already draw into these, then the Terraformings are just dead cards.
Makes sense, makes sense.
Alright, now True Draco Apocalypse.
Moving on to the traps.
Yeah. This card has become good just because...
surprisingly.
I mean, the effect to half has always been good. Because honestly, like, going to damage step half and then blow up a back row, that's amazing. Or blow up a monster. That's really amazing. And the fact that you could just activate one without using the effect and activate the other one and use the effect. So they could either choose to get rid of this and lose a monster, or get rid of this and lose a monster. So either way, they're going to lose a monster no matter what.
That's really good, actually.
And on top of that, like, they give you the effect to additional tribute summon, which is also very good. Especially when now you're running triple Masterpiece, you're going to need these guys, like, more than ever. Alright.
And I think we kind of need to run 3 of that because we only have the next card. Whoa, no return? Oh, there is a return.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so, Dimensional Barrier, I like this card only because it could beat Rogue. Any Rogue deck that I see, I could actually use D-Barrier and stop them for the turn and then just push for game. Like, more than that, most of the mainstream decks, like Pendulums, I mean, you can call Pendulum, but then they go into an Exceed, or they can go into a Synchro. Honestly, this card is still good, but to beat Rogue. Against Pendulums, it's okay. It'll only slow them down for the turn. But they have so many resources, it's ridiculous. But this card, in my opinion, can slow down the deck enough to fix your hand, or at least give you enough time to push back to bring them low enough to beat them for the game. Alright, then the return. The one return. The most broken card in this deck, besides Dynamite.
It's now at 1.
Now at 1. This card my God, in combination with here, let me pull them out. With Draco, it's so amazing. Because Draco, like I said before, gains his effect to protect other true Draco monsters and true king cards, even if it's not tribute summon. So these two together are amazingly good. And on top of that, the one thing I would say right now is if you do decide to play this deck, you cannot waste this card in just any way you want to. Because if this card gets cosmic, if this card gets removed from play, your grind game is gone. Which means that you cannot come back from a board clear or anything like that. A Kaiju Slumber, a Cosmic Cyclone, a Raigeki Dark Hole, you'll be vulnerable to all those cards if this card leaves your play. So, if you do end up playing this deck, you want to play this card smart. You don't want to play it like just because at this point you don't have 3 of this card anymore to rely on.
That's very true.
Which is really, really like it's like Protect the Castle at this point. Skill Drain. Skill Drain is still a very good card. You can combine it with Masterpiece when he's unaffected by traps. You can beat most decks with it because this deck literally has a bunch of beaters that gain attack from the field spell. So Skill Drain has always been a good card. I've liked it ever since like this deck has come out. This card has always been very useful to this deck. I mean, it's not a direct card that belongs to it, but it's still a card that they abuse the crap out of.
And guess what, guys? You can even tribute it.
Yep, it's tribute food. But most of the time, you only tribute it when you make sure that you have game.
Yeah.
Alright, and then speaking of the skill drain, we also run the Monarchs Rep.
Well, okay, what does this card do?
The Monarchs Rep is another skill drain for non-tribute summon monsters. So, any deck you play that doesn't run tribute summon monsters, this card is their worst enemy because it won't negate your own cards.
That's really good, actually.
It won't negate your own cards, so that means you don't have to worry about, like, Draco. His effect won't get negated because you special him from the graveyard. I mean, he will get negated, but he won't get negated if he's tribute summoned. So, which means he could bring out one from the deck, he could still protect your monsters, Masterpiece still has his effect, Majesty Maiden, Ignis. They all keep their effects, which makes this card one of the better cards in the deck. I mean, you could choose to run it or not. You could always choose to play more aggressive trap cards. Like, I know my friend suggested I run a Torrential Tribute because it also lets you clear the board. But I like this card more because this format, effect monsters have gained a lot of ground since the ban list, which I think is okay. I like it. Alright, and the last one is Waterfall of the Dragon Souls.
Okay, this card's pretty interesting.
This card...
Why do you play it?
Okay, this card lets you fix your hand in case you have too many monsters. It also lets you search out monsters in case you get none. And not to mention, in combination with Draco, what you can do is tribute summon for Draco, leave this face down, then use its effect to send Draco to the graveyard and draw 2 cards out for this, and Draco will summon another copy of itself in defense mode after this card's resolution. So in essence, this card becomes a +1.
Okay. That's a pretty good card.
Yeah. All in all, this deck has lost its helmet since the ban list.
So now you gotta play it smarter, right?
Yep.
Well, that should, separate the bad players from the good, but you know what? Just because this deck got hit doesn't mean you still can't play it. Still a really powerful deck. Masterpiece is still a piece of shit. And, don't ever forget how powerful this card is. And thanks again for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And, yeah, here we go. Signing out.